Recording. Welcome back to the True Path Entrepreneur, your guide to living your purpose and growing a freedom-based business you love. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a transformational business coach helping current and aspiring entrepreneurs align with their true purpose and grow their business so that you can help more people profit with your passion and have a thriving business you love working on your terms from anywhere. And today I'm really excited to be talking with my friend, Sydney Campos. Hey, Sydney.
Hi there, Beth. So happy to be here with you.
Good to have you. Sydney's coming to us from LA right now, where it's nice and warm, and I'm already in a sweater. Sydney is a visionary mentor, intuitive advisor, and author of The Empath Experience: What to Do When You Feel Everything. Sydney guides visionary leaders to live in alignment with their soul purpose while embodying next level power, pleasure, and prosperity. In addition to being a seasoned business strategy advisor and certified holistic health coach, Sydney is also a 200-hour registered yoga teacher, Reiki energy healer, and certified Akashic Records practitioner. Sydney shares her multifaceted inspiration through one-on-one visionary mentoring, courses, transformational retreats, intuitive readings, and her Visionary Souls podcast. An avid adventurer, Sydney is likely to be found in Bali, Venice Beach, San Francisco, or anywhere in the Mediterranean Europe. Sydney has been featured in Forbes, Mind Body Green, Refinery 29, Bustle, Pure Wow, and New York Magazine. So Sydney, I love that you're up to all this really cool stuff. And we were just talking a second ago about, intertwining all this kind of woo-woo stuff with business. I would love to hear, I know I love it because I'm like, this is my thing, my passion. I'd love to hear, how did you get started on this path of teaching all you teach, and also with this visionary business and business strategy with, Akashic Records and Reiki?
Yeah, totally. I've always been a coach, even if I wasn't calling myself that. It's just who I am. And I think most people that are in this line of work supporting others, that's just who we are. Can't not be that counselor, support person, strategist, guide, right? And so that's taken many different shapes. I had a 7-year career in New York working in advertising and PR, which I find a lot of intuitives, are also in there too, and learned so much, but always had a deep desire to have my own business and really support people more holistically. I really have felt a deep desire to share all of the healing and, tools that I've learned over the past years, especially since really coming into my own awakening journey, which began 7 years ago when I got sober after a pretty long stint with drugs and alcohol. And really, my journey has been so intertwined with, transcending, business challenges and obstacles and growth and like my own vision. And that's always been intertwined with energetics and emotional mastery, intuition, authenticity, intimacy. They're hand in hand. How you show up in one area of your life is how you show up in every other area. And that's always been very clear to me. So it, made sense when I started my own business just a few years ago. I started out as a strategy consultant, helping people with their businesses to launch and scale brands. And there was always a holistic, intuitive element within that strategy business consulting. So, just starting from there, my business has really organically grown into, really that's my platform, is mixing the personal with business, mixing, relationship and holistic healing and, all the different kind of more internal energetic processes and realignment work, always like mixing that in with business, which is really just a playground, I find, for navigating where in your life you can come into greater alignment with your truth and greater alignment with, what actually brings you the most joy.
Yeah, so beautifully said. And that's really what this whole series is about. I make jokes that I don't even like calling it work or business, because it's beyond that. It's you fully in all aspects. And that's part of the point of getting this message out to people watching, especially people who are thinking of starting a business or just started one, or kind of, in that between stage, to let them know that you can infuse all these parts of yourself, that it is more of a larger scale journey and a healing journey, and not just, running a business and then going home, doing dishes or whatever. So tell people,
I love to think of it as a game,
Yeah.
like for so long. And I think a lot of people relate, like we grow up kind of conditioned to be compartmentalized, right? In our
Hmm.
society that, you're this person when you show up at the office, or even in your own business, you're this person. But then when you're in a different relationship, you show up in a different way. And so anyways, a deep desire of mine is to invite people into a paradigm of wholeness and like total integrity, and I don't just mean like integrity and truth and doing what you say you're going to do, but like being the same person, like being totally you in every situation that you show up in. And again, business is just a really fun mirror or lens through which we can really see, where is your energy out of alignment? Where are your beliefs out of alignment with what you say you truly want for yourself, and how can you authentically really bring the fullness of the gifts you're here to bring through, to share with the people that are waiting for you.
Exactly. I love it. I love that you mentioned this gifts and people are waiting for you, because this is a huge message.
Yes.
To really come into this, let go of the fear and step into your true self in all aspects. And now you mentioned a couple things. Intuition, you mentioned a few times. And, I know your book is about being an empath and feeling everything, which I love discussing. A lot of us are there. We get it. But how can one use both? Because I know they kind of go hand in hand, with something like business, either starting a business or growing a business, or even, someone, let's say, who's at a job that they don't like, that really are being called onto this path. What do you say about that?
Oh, it's such a big,
I know, it's huge.
big old question. And then, I mean, so much of my life and so much of the struggle, I would say, that I have gone through has been a result of repressing my intuition. We all have intuition, whether or not you know it or not. You have an intuition, and you have this voice of your higher self, of your soul, of your essence that knows what you really want, that knows what your purpose is, that knows why you're here, that knows what you love to do, that knows that work can actually be so much fun when you're doing exactly what you truly are called to do and share. And yet, again, part of this game, especially in entrepreneurship, is the deconditioning and deprogramming of all of the beliefs and stories around, why you can't listen, why you can't just listen, why it can't just be that easy. Like, wait a minute, the thing that I used to do when I was a little kid, that I would just do for hours, that I love, that everyone tells me I'm so amazing at, that's just who I am, that can be my livelihood. That could be a business. That could be the thing that actually creates more abundance than I've ever imagined possible in such an easy, fun way. Really? And yes, that's exactly what we all have available to us. And listen, had I heard myself say these words, a few years ago, I'm so present to the limiting beliefs, the fear, the criticism that was even present in myself, especially when I was in a full-time job, really like committed I was just working 60 hours for someone else's business, essentially. And it was really draining. And there were many levels within that of drain, in which felt like I couldn't really be myself. I had to kind of dim my light, to show up in this environment that just wasn't congruent with where I wanted to be at all, and I had to really repress my power, couldn't fully share myself, which I know a lot of people go through, and it's exhausting to be in that resistance every day. I know what that's like. And so being in that situation, hearing these words, like, you can just trust what feels good, you can listen to your intuition. I understand that there's a lot of like questions within that, but how do I start listening? And can it really be that easy? And I talk a lot about that in my book, and that really is a core of the way that I support people. And I just want to convey, from my heart to yours, that it really can be so much easier and so much more simple than maybe you've ever imagined. This invitation of living in alignment with your purpose, and really living a life that's more filled with just, fulfilling your desires. That life can really be this moment to moment experience of listening to yourself and asking, what do I need right now to feel my best? What do I need? And then showing up that way, like in response.
This is so, I'm like getting all the chills and the giggles. I love this. When you had mentioned you were in PR and advertising, I went like this, because I used to, I'm mostly based in New York City, not right now, but it's a tough industry. And like you, I was in fashion for a while, and I know what it's like. It's like, you know, you could feel your soul being sucked. You could feel yourself not being able to be your true self. You know, probably like you, it's like, yeah, I dimmed my light. And then when I started to just be like, well, I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to speak up, and I'm going to say what's on my mind. You know, once I was fired for doing that. Mm-hmm. And most of the other times I was just, you know, told to shut up. And, you know, eventually I was like, wow, my soul can't do this anymore. I really need to start doing what I actually dream of. And like you mentioned, I ended up doing the same thing I wanted to do when I was 7 or 8 years old, that I actually kept saying when I was a little kid, I want to help people grow businesses. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know, but I never wanted, you know, I never wanted to own my own. I always wanted to be the person behind someone else, like right behind them, growing it. And that's, you know, pretty much what I do now. So I love that you say this about, you know, really listening and giving us, you know, giving ourselves permission, because we were, you know, I agree that we were kind of all taught wrong. And like you, it was a big journey, you know, many years to finally understand, like, wow, actually, this doesn't have to be painful. This can be easy. This can be fun. Like, I never really feel like I'm working, you know, rarely, most of the time I don't. And it's just sort of like in our nature. So I love that you get this message out and help people on this path. Now, you also mentioned aligning with your soul's purpose. And that's a big part of this series, is about, you know, people coming into their true purpose. And even, you know, even some entrepreneurs out there aren't really aligned with their purpose. Like, they might have a business and, you know, it's maybe a little bit off, or it's not growing, or it's feeling really hard and it's a struggle, or they're stuck. And, you know, what do you suggest to people who are in that place of, you know, clearly they're misaligned, if it's that much of a struggle, or they're constantly feeling stuck, or the abundance is not flowing in properly. You know, what are I would say, what are any tricks or tips to start to tap into your soul's purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I love the context that you just set. You know, I love, and I frequently support people who are exactly in that place of feeling like, I can't quite see how I'm in my own way, but I know that I'm in my own way because I feel drained, feel like things are really hard. I feel like I'm trying to make stuff happen all the time. And underlying that is this like distrust in their ability to create what they want, or a difficulty in really believing they're worthy of having what they really want, or a difficulty in even seeing, like allowing themselves to see the vision that they know is the thing that they want, but there's like all this noise in the way of just simply receiving that, right? And I myself have been there as well. So one of my favorite tricks, it's really a practice, and it's energetic mastery, right? And this is energetic mastery, such a core part of having an aligned, flowing, abundant business. You know, it's like your business is just a reflection of your own energy system, really. And how is your energy flowing within your body, within, you know, in your life, through you and into your life, you know? So I would always ask, and people listening, you can ask yourself this now: what are the obligations in your life that feel, you know, like they're things that you are committed to doing, but they feel like have tos, and they feel like shoulds, and they feel like just a drain? Even thinking about having to show up or do the thing feels enormously draining on you. You know, what are some of those things? You know, and I see that that's almost always like one of the biggest, like most effective tricks, if we say that, to helping you realign with just like your natural flow and your magnetism, by the way, right? To stop. And a lot of things come up in that. It's really interesting. Like, because you know, if you're doing things you don't really want to be doing, and then can you really be honest with yourself? This is why having a coach is really helpful, because you can't get away. You know, it's like, oh, cool. And why do I feel like I have to do that? When did I decide that I must be obligated to spending my time and energy doing something that is not really in alignment with my desires? And can you be really honest about what's going on there? Is there a part of you that feels like you have to, things have to be hard, you have to struggle, you have to work hard to like make something happen? If you don't do that, then whatever the thing is that you want isn't going to happen. So there's a distrust, there's a scarcity mentality present. There's, you know, what's really underlying this driver of you being obligated to things you don't truly want to do, you know? And whose story is that? You know, because it's really not coming from your soul. Your soul wants you to feel good. Your true purpose is really first and foremost to feel good. Really, it's that simple, you know? And the thing that brings you joy, the thing that you love to contribute, that just feels really actually effortless, is the path that you're really being invited to walk fully. And the how and the structure of how that is brought into manifestation through a business or a service offering also doesn't have to be so complicated. You know, it can be very fun. It can be light. And isn't that the most magnetic energy that you really want to be around? You know, the most successful people that I look to, who are like my mentors and teachers and just people on the path, you know, a few steps ahead of me, it's like, I want to be in their field. I want to be around them. I want to be in their energy. They're a light. They're radiant. They're flowing. You know, they're brilliant. You know, and so just look at your life in this moment, no matter where you are, and see, is there anything that you're allowing to drain your energy, to drain your light, to repress, you know, the truth of what you maybe want to be doing or saying in any way? And can you realize that you're the only one that's allowing that to continue? You know, can you be honest with yourself about how it may be really time to finally let that stuff go? Even if you're afraid of, you know, well, if I let that go, what's going to take its place? Can you trust that something better than you could even plan or imagine is going to naturally come in, you know?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I totally relate, because I went through that journey. You know, I've had multiple businesses, and you know, I used to think it was like, oh, you have to work 24/7 to get it off the ground and really struggle. And you know, honestly, what it was embodying was just the idea of suffering.
Yes.
Like I was creating my own suffering. I was told that you have to suffer to succeed. You know, you have to get less sleep and work all the time and give up your
deep
life. I know.
This conditioning is so deep, you know, and it's a continuous deep programming. I mean, even a year into my business, running my own business, it was like, oh my God, I'm still in that conditioning of needing to work 60 hours, or I was a producer for a long time. So it's like just so reactive, and, you know, I had to, like, something was off if I didn't have like 1,000 emails every day, you know, and that came into my business. Like I would notice I had a state of anxiety if I didn't have like a huge influx of things to respond to. Meanwhile, I was creating a totally different business. And yet that conditioning from being in that high stress environment, in which, especially in New York City, it's like I had bosses that were, you know, wearing their like graying hair and anxiety as like a badge of honor. You know, like these are role models within companies. Would be like, oh, I was at the office until 10 p.m.
Oh my God, yeah.
I feel horrible, but I'm on a deadline. And it was like worn as this badge of honor. And that's happening to some extent in this, I think, old paradigm of, you know, this more masculine centered like approach to business. So I'm really excited about engaging people in more of their feminine, intuitive, you know, energetic and emotional kind of intelligence within business, because the most effective like business strategies that I've found like are simple, and they're purely based in energetics, and they're based in, you know, truth, and like talk about marketing, you know, the most effective, magnetic, powerful marketing is based in, you know, emotional intelligence, and really, you know, sharing your heart, sharing your authentic truth. And I love to see that, you know, that magic get activated in people.
Yeah, I love it. I'm cracking up because I was just telling someone the other night, I was like, yeah, I used to work till like 10 p.m. every night, and it was a very New York life. And like you said, it's a very badge of honor. Like it was so normal to work 12-hour, 13-hour days. And then, you know, I was saying, I was like, yeah, and I used to drink half a bottle of wine almost every night. And I thought that was very normal until there was a day where it was like, wait a second, this is unhealthy. This is crazy. It's pretty much alcoholism. And I don't enjoy this. And if this is what my future is, I don't even know what the point of living, you know, and I just knew, I was like, there has to be more to life than this. And that began this journey of, you know, many, many years. And, you know, even in entrepreneurship, even now, like you said, it's like, you know, I always have to remind myself of coming into balance of, you know, self-care and joy and happiness, and then also taking actions and doing the marketing, doing this, but always making sure it's aligned with my heart and my truth. And yeah, it's funny because I'm like, oh yeah, I do avoid certain things, and it's usually like doing my bookkeeping, you know, like financial stuff, tax things that I can't stand dealing with. But I love that you mention it. And now, you know, you also mentioned this idea of healing shame and worthiness, and how this plays a part on this path to, you know, growing a business or entrepreneurship, and also, you know, just this whole path of awakening. I've talked to a couple other guests about similar things of worthiness and how this comes up so much, but no one's really talked about the shame very much. What does this all mean?
Wow. It's just so, I mean, this really became illuminated for me in a new way. I would say about a year into my business, and I was experiencing such a bottom in my own like belief system in abundance, and I was just putting so much pressure. At this point in my business, I had actually, I was doing pretty well and looked pretty good, by all external appearances, and yet I felt I was going through such a painful feeling of just like not really trusting myself to provide for myself, not believing that the universe was really supporting me. Like I was hitting this glass ceiling, I was like not able to kind of grow or scale. And there was this feeling of immense resistance, like feeling at a deep level that I just couldn't do it or that I didn't deserve it, and I mean, it's a longer story. It was a little bit dramatic. I was like crying on the floor in my villa in Bali, and everything just looked so perfect. And yet I felt so afraid, and I felt like such a fraud, and all this stuff was coming up. And anyways, what I was shown through that path and working with, some mentors and healers at that time that really supported me was that shame was the root of everything that I was experiencing. And shame is really the lowest vibrational energy that any of us have, and that's like hugely in our collective consciousness, and it's toxic. It literally exists in the body as toxicity, as the biggest drain from our light, from our radiant, magnetism, and from really our just, embodiment of love. And it manifests in all sorts of ways. People being worried about money, worried about not being enough, worried about, telling their truth or being seen. This resistance to just like really sharing what you really want to share, but feeling like you just can't. People won't understand you. People won't accept you. People won't trust you, etc. All these different manifestations are of shame. And this fundamental unconscious belief, oftentimes that many people hold, especially I would say women, about, this fundamental shame of like, I'm not good. And therefore I don't deserve to be happy, and I don't deserve for things to be easy, and I don't deserve to feel supported. In fact, this is all up to me to figure out alone. That's what was really manifesting for me, and that you could imagine how that shows up in every area of your life, and as literally as blocks to receiving money, blocks to receiving opportunities, blocks to just allowing your creativity to flow as it naturally wants to flow. So, I mean, there's so much I could say about this, but I found that really continuing to work with myself in this, because this is an ongoing journey. It's not that I'm fixed and I'm done. The layers of the family programming and ancestral programming run very deep. And, but I find that, starting to look at, if anything that I just said resonates with anyone listening, it's like, it may feel really big. It may feel like a huge weight you've been carrying. Know that you're not alone. Know that this is something that every single person does carry at some level, and that whatever it is that you feel is, you're carrying shame about, I found again and again, following that path is really the key to starting to illuminate what is your purpose, what is the gift that you're here to give, the way that you're, able to heal yourself of this lower vibrational energy and toxic, this toxic energy, the way that you uniquely find to heal yourself from this, to forgive yourself, to love yourself, to take care of yourself, to start taking aligned action in the direction of what you truly desire. This is the gift that you're here to bring. This is like the core of the message, the frequency that you're here to hold, and it requires a lot of courage. This is not easy. This is not the typical thing that you hear, I think, anybody talk about, because it requires a lot of courage to really face yourself and to really, again, be willing to face the truth of, what are you here for, and what really matters to you, and what kind of life do you really want to live?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what you're saying is also true. And I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, oh yeah, I've gone through this journey, and there's always the onion. It's the onion layers,
Infinite onion. Yeah.
It's always like deeper, and every level I grow, and every new thing I do, and every way I put myself out there, it's it's another, brings up something deeper to work through and take a look at. And like you said, forgiveness, self-love, acceptance, forgiven. I mean, I've gone super deep with, ancestry, like patterns, past lives, everything. But I think it's so important for people watching to hear this and see this, because you could do all the marketing in the world. You could do, Facebook ads or strategies or funnels or whatever. But in the end, if this inner stuff hasn't really been dealt with or worked on, or you don't feel deserving, you're never going to be able to get to where you really want to go. It's you can't accept it in. You'll block it in some subconscious form or another. It will be blocked. I've seen it with a lot of my peers. I've seen it all the time. I've done it myself, in the past. But it's incredible, and I'm so glad you're talking about this, because this is the stuff that it's like really juicy, and it really matters. And like you said, it's a totally different paradigm than we're all used to. But thankfully, people like us are sitting here talking about this and really getting the word out that there is a different way of living, and it is actually a lot more joyful and better. And yeah, sometimes it's really damn hard, but it actually feels so much better in the end, no matter what. So much more fulfilling, so much more aligned, and like you said, really fun. Now, I want people to know about the free gift that they'll get in today's email if they click the link. It's called Inner Child Healing Meditation. Can you talk a little bit more about that? I love this child work. I think it's very deep, amazing work.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, perfect transition. Just feel like we're just getting started. There's so much more to share. Inner child healing has changed my life, and is a huge part of the work that I do. And I host retreats on that like archetype alone, and really helping you connect to your inner essence, to your soul, to your intuition, to trust yourself, to heal shame, to heal unworthiness, to heal core wounds, to be fully empowered in your essence, And so the meditation I'd love to gift everyone is a beautiful guided journey that I feel is so powerful. It's super activating, and will give you some guidance in learning how you too can really start to connect with your inner child, with your essence, and start to be in the practice of giving yourself what you need in every moment. Because wouldn't you agree that any form of pain or suffering, resistance in your life, maybe in everyone's life, is a result of simply a fundamental need that you have not being met? And so what is life like when you're able to give yourself everything that you need and not seek anything from outside of you, right? So that's the invitation here, and I'm so excited for you to experience it.
Well, so beautiful. I love it. And now, can you tell people a little bit more about where to find you, anything upcoming, any offerings that you have?
Sure, yeah. I can find everything at sydneycampos.com, and I have all the social media, YouTube, make a lot of videos, love doing live streams, and have a bunch of different programs and courses. My alignment activation course is my signature program. That's a 7-week journey, and really activating your highest alignment in every single area of your life, and is underlying, really helping you connect deeply to your intuition and activate a sense of flow. Tons of other good stuff. And I have a retreat that I'm hosting in Bali over New Year's, which has a few spaces open, and that's called Transform and Transcend. It's a retreat for visionaries ready to, guess what, align to their highest purpose and really embody their highest self in every area of their life. And beyond that, I'll have some other retreats coming up in 2019 in Bhutan, which is right by Nepal. I'm so excited to go there. And then Sedona, Costa Rica, and also in California, I'll be doing some speaking engagements.
Nice. Oh my God. Amazing. Bhutan sounds incredible. That's one place I have not yet been.
I know. So exciting. Yes.
Awesome. Well, Sydney, I agree. I could talk to you forever. I've been saying this to all my guests. I just keep these short because there's so many people, and, the busy world that we're all in. But thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. This has been really great. I really appreciate it very much. And everybody, you can tune in tomorrow for more interviews on the True Path Entrepreneur, and I'll see you then. Bye.